Hello, I'm Kecia Weller. I am a national peer advocate working to reduce sexual violence against people with disabilities. I've been working the last 9 years to help change the systems respond to sexual violence. I am happy to be with you today to share some important information. The high rate of sexual abuse among people with intellectual and developmental disabilities is alarming. The U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics tell us that people with intellectual disabilities are sexually assaulted 7 times more than those without disabilities. And among women, it happens 12 times more often, as reported in the NPR Abuse and Betrayed series. That's not okay. We need to start paying attention to this issue. We need to start helping survivors by giving them what they need. This webinar is part of our training series called Talk About Sexual Violence. Our 3-year project is designed to help medical providers and their patients with disabilities have meaningful conversations about sexual abuse. At the end of this project, we hope to gain important information to share with medical providers, social workers, and adult protective services. We want to help medical providers feel more comfortable and do better to help keep us safe. Medical providers have a unique and important opportunity to address sexual abuse with patients, but often don't have the background or access to the right resources. This year, we are hosting conversation groups of people with disabilities, including survivors of sexual assault. It was important to hear from them about how medical appointments could be more supportive and what they think would improve the quality of medical care, especially when reporting sexual assault. All conversation groups were conducted through online video sessions to hear from people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Sessions included participants from California, Massachusetts, and Texas. Some of the questions we asked were, do you feel heard and believed with your providers? Did providers ever talk to you about mandated reporting? What do providers need to learn to do better? It was hard for participants to open up about this issue. This is an important point because abuse is very personal and frightening. Trusting your medical provider is essential for getting the right kind of support. When we asked self-advocates if they felt heard and believed, self-advocates reported, it depends on the doctor and how well they know you. Too many doctors don't take time to understand what the patient has to say. Many don't explain difficult topics using everyday language. Doctors don't ask if patients are comfortable when they are talking about being sexually assaulted. They make decisions for patients instead of explaining things. They don't give patients a chance to be part of the final choices. We all know what it feels like when someone is uncomfortable with what we are saying. Imagine feeling this way when you're trying to tell them that you've been hurt, that you're scared, that you need help and don't know what to do. When we asked about the process of explaining mandated reporting, some advocates reported some doctors did explain using understandable explanations, not jargon. Most doctors and nurses never said anything. It felt like they don't want to be involved or understand the responsibility. Some doctors invited patients to be part of the decision-making process when it came to reporting. But some people with intellectual developmental disabilities don't have the experience and reported that they were not asked if they understood what mandated reporting meant. I know I have so many questions about this. Why doesn't every doctor know about this and know how to talk about it? Why would a doctor explain to a patient in everyday words about what mandated reporting is and help them understand what their options are for getting help? We learned that doctors might talk to our care providers, but why wouldn't they include us since it is about us? When we asked what education and training medical providers needed, self-advocates reported training was needed so they can learn that people with disabilities have many abilities and are not defined by only one disability. Also, learning about and using plain language with patients. Most important, get training on being respectful. Last, since most of us use the computer, it's important that all medical providers change their websites so they are accessible. Concluding remarks. I am hopeful this webinar that shares what we have learned from survivors with disabilities will be helpful to medical providers. Our website, Talk About Sexual Violence, has a resource section that helps providers. There are tools and links to resources that they can learn about accessible communication so survivors feel supported and don't have to quietly suffer alone. Most of the suggestions provided by the participants are not new. We've been talking about these needs for a long time. It's time for a change. I know we can do this by talking about sexual violence openly and working together. For more information about talking about sexual violence, please visit at talkaboutsexualviolence.org. Our project is coordinated by the ARC's National Center on Criminal Justice and Disabilities and the Board Resource Center. Our project is funded by the WIC Foundation. Thank you.